Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another pack overview for The Sims 4, and, well, we're back with the kits this time. A brand new pack type being introduced into the Sims franchise, where basically they're even smaller than stuff packs that retail at $5 each, and this time 3 of them have come out at once, where you have one that is more Create a Sim focused, another that's more build buy focused, and then the last one is more focused on the gameplay. And oh boy, this is very controversial, and I can absolutely see why if you've seen just about any of my recent videos. So I did, full disclosure, get free codes from EA for these kits, so for review purposes I've decided, well, I'm gonna still review them even though I really hate the concept of these packs. So this is not me endorsing their existence in a positive way or anything. Like, I am still reviewing this, and I'm still going to approach this from a critical approach, even though, yes, I did get these from EA. Anyways, though, we have the 3 packs here. Throwback Fit kit, which is basically a 90s inspired athleisure set. And, well, 90s is my decade, at least. So, there's no gameplay in this one. This is the Create a Sim focused one. And then, yeah, there we go. I figured they were just gonna pop up one by one. It's kind of weird getting 3 packs at once for The Sims 4. I haven't really experienced that in the past, but Sims 4 Country Kitchen Kit, where you can cook in comfort and make it homey. So this is the build and buy focused one. So finally, another complete kitchen set. I guess we did get one in Snowy Escape, but we don't get those very often. And then we have Bless the Dust kit, and this is the gameplay one, and I will admit, this one is pretty intriguing. It seems like there is quite a bit going on with it, and it's like, oh, well, we've had laundry in The Sims 3 before, but dusting is entirely new to The Sims franchise. And there's even this icon over here that absolutely reminds me of Mr. Clean. And there's dust bunnies. We got dust bunnies before real bunnies in the Sims franchise too, which is just... what? But we got vacuums, both the upright ones, as you can see here, but there's also the hand vacuums, and you can also clean toddlers with them. So that was actually intentional, where it looks like as if you're using it on the toddlers. So it's supposed to boost up the hygiene a little bit, but not like a replacement for the showers or a bath or anything like that. So yeah, with that, so we'll go through the items and what I think of them. So yeah, here we go. So let's start off with the Throwback Fit kit. I think I will get a fair amount of use out of this, especially considering how it's been a thing with me for a while where I lean on fitness stuff for athletic wear, but now I will have a little bit more choice. Though I wish for the men they didn't get much, even though that's a normal thing. Unfortunately, they really got shortchanged here, and with the hyper focus of these kits, this would have been a really good opportunity to give more men's fashion. But yeah, I don't know, like I like the swatches of the items, but in terms of their designs, they're not really extremely different from what we already have. I think it is pretty neat that the bucket hat is available for all ages though. Moving on to the women, I think they did get the better stuff for sure. I'm not really into a couple of the items, but that's more of a personal taste thing. But yeah, that tennis skirt is pretty cute. If only we had tennis in the game, and I'm not talking about the table tennis, I mean the actual full-on court tennis, but that tank top had a little bit more detail than I expected, so that was pretty nice, and I do find it does have a bit more of a unique style compared to some of the other tank tops that we already have in the game. This top I find quite interesting. I'm not sure how much I'm going to use it, but I can appreciate that it is different. Then we have another sort of like tank top, and I guess this one's alright. I guess we do have some items that are similar to it though. And that jacket is pretty interesting. I do like the designs on it, especially considering the first one has like the 90s party cup design. If you know, you know. but it is a bit similar to a jacket that we already got in Island Living. I think they're just different enough so that you can use them in different situations. Also, I just want to replay this outfit because this is my favorite asset in the whole kit. I love everything about it, from the swatches to the design itself. I think this one just looks really well done, and I don't tend to use full body outfits for athletic wear unless it's that tracksuit from the base game, but I am really looking forward to using this one. The other two full body outfits, yeah, I guess they're decent, but they're not really my style, so I don't think I'll use them as much as the first one. Once again, the children and toddlers did not get much. I do like the jacket that's available for the children, though. And once again, yeah, it is good that the bucket has available. Just the 90s party cup pattern. I can't get over that. But yeah, I would not be surprised if they do a kit in the future that is for kids and they do another one that's specific towards toddlers. So overall, while I do like a lot of items in this kit, I don't think this is worth $5. Now let's talk about the Country Kitchen Kit. There thankfully is a styled room, so you can just plop it down and already have a room ready to go. And I will say this is probably the one that I'm going to use the least, though I don't think any of the items look bad in this. It's just that I don't build very often in The Sims. But I do like some of the items in this pack, especially the stove. That's no doubt the best item in this whole kit. And the fridge is also pretty nice, as well as that farmhouse sink. And the swatches, I think, are pretty decent. And thank goodness there's black and white swatches. They didn't forget to do those this time. I'll be interested in seeing whether months from now these kitchen pieces will still be used in gallery builds often or not, because on one hand, they're nice items, but on the other, well, it's almost like a My First Pet Stuff sort of situation, where it's like, oh, well, then people are gonna have to spend extra money just so that the kitchen will look the way that it's meant to. Also, I gotta give a quick shout out to this clutter item because the food actually changes with the swatches. And also, of course, I have to highlight that goose because birds! And I really want a sequel to Untitled Goose Game. It's also worth mentioning that we did get a new floor tile as well as a new wallpaper, though I don't feel like they stand out all that much compared to what we have, I think was already even in the base game. I figured some of you would want to see the stove in action, so I just decided to throw that extra footage in there. But overall, I think once again the items are nice but are not worth $5. It's definitely interesting that this is the way that they've listened to our request for more kitchen sets, since they are pretty sought after in The Sims 4. Last but not least, actually, I think this is by far the most interesting kit, although, spoiler alert, I still don't think this is worth $5. It's kind of funny, I was actually just telling my coworker today, who used to play the older Sims games, that hey, we can pay $7 Canadian for our Sims to vacuum and make friends with literal dust bunnies, and well, you can probably guess, she was pretty confused about that. But, yep, that is a thing in The Sims now. I have thought about wanting vacuums in The Sims before, and I figured, well, if it's opt-in like the laundry system, then that would be okay, I guess. From my understanding, though, it doesn't seem to work on quite that level, because there is an option in the options menu to turn off the dust system, but it's not really, like, per household. It's just a global setting across all households, so you just have to turn it on and off when you don't want it through that, which I find a bit more clunky than what you can do where it's just like, oh, if you don't want to do laundry, then just don't have any laundry hampers or washers or dryers. I also find it interesting that, of all things for the first gameplay kit, they choose vacuuming, something as mundane as that, but I can also see why, because with Laundry Day, that was a pack that was voted on by the community, so they probably thought, well, since players voted for something as mundane as laundry, then vacuuming is sure to be a win. Though I still wish that they would have started off with something just overall more thrilling and exciting. At least these functional vacuums are, well, at least pretty close to a franchise first. We did get that Roomba and Cats and Dogs, which actually works with this vacuuming system now. But other than that, yep, this is the first time that we're having functional vacuums in The Sims. I especially do like the designs of the upright vacuums because you have the cheap one that has the bag attached to it. Then you have the middle range one where you can actually see like the cylinder that all the dust goes into. And then you have the high-end vacuum that's more expensive. I also like the sound design of the vacuums. I'm almost tempted to actually make a vacuum ASMR video. But let's talk about how this dusting system works. So now there's 4 different levels of cleanliness that your house can be in. There's clean, where it is pristine and sparkly. You don't have to worry about dust bunnies, though I do find the sparkly effects really annoying. I already found a mod to disable that, but still, yeah, not too great. But that seems to be the default state because I've loaded multiple houses since installing the pack, and there is always the sparkle showing up right away. Then there's the dusty state, which SimGuru Ninja actually explained to be the neutral state, where the dust bunnies can appear, and there's a little bit of dust around, but it's not really that bad because it's normal to have a little bit of dust in your house rather than for it to just be perfectly pristine all the time. Interestingly enough, as you can see with that buff there, there's actually benefits to living in a dusty home, so it's not all bad. And there's a clip I took of the dust bunny right there. I can't believe they made dust of all things cute and that we got dust bunnies before actual bunnies, but I feel pretty mixed about them. You can build a relationship with them. They're almost like small pets in a way, but I just wish that it would take more fill for them to show up than just being in the so-called neutral, dusty state for them to already appear. It kinda gets a little too far into the silly territory for me when they're that common, because I would like to have my Sims houses be dusty for the most part, but then these unrealistic dust bunnies are gonna appear and then kinda just ruin the immersion at times. But they do have a decent amount of options where you can ask them to search for valuables, which will probably be really good for rags to riches since they can even find money. You can name them, you can feed them to build up your relationships so that they'll bring back even better valuables. And, well, if you want to get rid of them, you can also try stepping on them or vacuuming them. You can also, if you don't want to do that, you can befriend them so that they stick around even when the house is not dirty. Yeah, I'm really surprised that they actually have an animation for the dust bunny being sucked up into the vacuum. It's quite brutal in comparison to, well, paranormal stuff where there was no ghost vacuum of any kind. You just tell them to leave gently and hope that they actually leave. But there's still 2 more states of cleanliness to talk about. So dirty is the next one, and you will notice some dirt piles building up on the floor. So if you really want to have a more run down and just overall disgusting house, then this will definitely help add to the immersion, and your Sims will have a more tense buff and they will have more difficulty concentrating on tasks. Also, you might have a hard time with romance when your house is this dirty. There's this funny messiness kills the mood. It's not you, it's just hard to feel the vibes when there's dust sticking to my feet and a vaguely musty scent emanating from everywhere around me. You'll likely start seeing more dust bunnies in this state, though the filth fiends don't appear until the filthy state, which is the worst possible cleanliness that your house can be in. And it definitely looks even more visibly dirty than it did before. On top of that, your Sims will feel uncomfortable, so that will make it a lot harder for them to do things. So the filth fiends work pretty similarly to the dust bunnies, except they're a lot more aggressive and tougher to socialize with. Also, if their mischief level is high enough, they can spontaneously combust. So if you happen to have a bunch of filth fiends in your house, then you might actually have a pretty decent amount of fire to deal with, so that might not be good for you. One other thing to keep in mind with these cleanliness states is that they are per floor. So for example, you can have your first floor be really clean, but your basement could be really filthy, and then your upper floor could just be dusty. It's also worth mentioning that there are 2 new aspirations in this kit under the location category, normally reserved for new worlds that come with the bigger packs. But you have Fabulously Filthy and Perfectly Pristine. So Perfectly Pristine is pretty much what you think it is, where you just gotta try and keep your house clean. But Fabulously Filthy I find more interesting, where the reward trait is Filth Dweller, where your Sims won't actually mind living in filthy houses. And then the Fast and Fastidious is the reward trait for Perfectly Pristine, where you even have these power clean and power vacuum interactions. But I just find it funny that, yeah, you actually have an aspiration to be as filthy as possible. And, well, I just don't get excited for aspirations anymore in The Sims 4. But this Fabulously Filthy one might be the most interesting one in a long time. It's just like, really? A kit provided the most interesting aspiration in a while? That was definitely a surprise to me. There also seems to be some pretty decent pack integration going on here, because there is the robot vacuum that I mentioned earlier from Cats and Dogs that works as a vacuum now. The cleaning bots from Discovery University will clean up the dust. Same for the maids and Bonehilda, they will have vacuums. And the pets, they apparently can be afraid of them, but some pets will be fascinated by them. However, in my testing so far with about half a dozen different pets, they don't seem to really care all that much. In a couple of instances, they seemed kinda curious, but haven't seen any be outright scared. So I don't know if it's a particular traits thing or if I was just really unlucky. And children can use the hand vacuums, which will affect the Parenthood character values if you have that game pack installed. And if you have Outdoor Retreat, Sims with the Squeamish trait can get uncomfortable while cleaning. So overall, I think this is a pretty interesting kit, but I still don't think it's worth charging half the price of a stuff pack when you have only a third of a stuff pack's content. So getting into my overall opinions of kits in general and these 3 that we have right now, it's just not worth it. It really isn't. Because then when you buy all 3 of these together, they add up to $15 US, which is more than a stuff pack and almost as much as a whole game pack. So I feel like it's just better in the long run to save up money for a stuff pack that overall has more substance, or if you really want to, save up for a game pack. But I'm just speaking in terms of if you really just would rather get a smaller pack instead of just getting a bigger expansion pack right away. I guess I still enjoy Bust the Dust more than I did Luxury Party, but that's a pretty low standard. Maybe just like with the stuff packs, the later ones will be better, but I'm not really too sure about this. And it does give me Sims 3 store vibes, where it's like, well, I mean, the content is pretty decent, it's just that the price is really outrageous, all things considered. Plus, I already figured that 3 packs were too many for one Sims game, but now that we have 4, it is absolutely too much, and I'm very concerned that The Sims 4 will catch up to Train Simulator levels of money grabbing. On top of that, I'm getting really tired of all these niche packs at this point. I feel every single pack that's released since Tiny Living last year, it's all like niche after niche after niche. I really need a pack that's more broad, that really affects the whole game and not just one world or just one tiny little section of gameplay. A Generations expansion pack can't get you here soon enough. And funny how that would be basically a guaranteed success, just like how the Dust the Bust one probably will be. Not really as sure about the other 2, but it's just, well, the items, they're pretty good looking, but I don't feel like they are worth it at full price. If they were at maybe like $2, $3 max, then sure, at least the price wouldn't be bad. It's just that my argument would still stand in terms of oversaturation and there being way too many packs. Also, from what I've been hearing, just internationally, these kits, just wherever you are outside of America, they're even more atrociously priced. So that is not great either, and I don't know if they'll ever fix that. So in the end, I'd rather these kits just be left behind as a failed experiment, just like my first pet stuff, and not do any more of these. Just get the cows mod that I showed off on my channel recently. It even just became free, so might as well just go for that if you're playing on PC and Mac. But feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you think about these kits and if you're going to buy any of them. And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest gaming content, including life simulation games and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!